B.7 Gender of adjectives. Les adjectifs. So you may have noticed that in some previous exercises, the adjective, which qualifies a noun, had different ending. Those endings are called agreement. In French, we say accord. So every time you have an adjective, it needs to agree in number, so if it's singular or plural, and gender, if it's feminine or masculine. With the noun, it qualifies every time. So for example, here you can see Marie est petite. Marie, that's the noun, and the adjective petite qualifies that noun. Marie is feminine singular, so your adjective has to be feminine singular. And we usually start by an adjective that's masculine singular. Here we have petit, and you have to transform it. So if it's feminine, you add a feminine, and singular, you add an E. But here, Georges et Marie sont petits. Georges et Marie. Georges is masculine, Marie is feminine. But here, French is a very misogynistic language. So basically, if you have one man and one female, or one man and two female, it's gonna be always masculine that wins over the feminine. So we can just, I'm gonna erase the F, feminine, it's gonna be masculine. Masculine, and it's also going to be plural because you have two people. So it's a masculine plural, despite the fact that there is one woman. Georges et Marie sont petits. Donc petit, masculin, pluriel. Here, il est intelligent. Il is masculine singular, and your adjective, intelligent, masculine singular. Elles sont intelligentes. Here, feminine plural, donc here E for the feminine, S for the masculine. So you have feminine plural. Tu es content, that's singular, and that's also masculine. Tu is masculine singular. It could be feminine, and you could have had an E here. It's another option. Nous sommes contents. Content as a S, because that's a masculine plural, masculine plural. So we add an S. So you add an E most of the time if you have a feminine, and you add a S if you have a plural. You add ES if it's feminine plural. But a lot of adjectives are irregular, and you will see some differences. So for example, that's the basic rule. If the masculine singular ends in a consonant, you add an E for the feminine, petite, and you add an S for the plural, petit, even if you do not hear it. And if you have a feminine plural, petite, so you can see you do not hear the S here, petite. If the masculine singular ends in an accented E, do not change the feminine, but you do add an S for the plural. So timide, timide. You see it's the same. The masculine and feminine are the same. But then for your plural, you're going to add the S, timide, timide. If the masculine singular ends in any other vowel, including A, I, or U, add a E for feminine and a S for plural. So poli, poli, feminine I, S, poli, poli, I, E, S. So that's same rule. If the masculine singular I ends in a S, add an I for feminine and an S for feminine plural, but do not add an S for the masculine plural. For example, français, française. Française, you add an S for the plural, but here you do not add an S. So the singular, masculine singular and masculine plural are exactly the same. Two other patterns that I want us to see is the F and the X. So if you have an adjective like actif, the feminine is active, so you add a VE. D'accord? So it's completely different. And VES for the plural. And then just an S for the masculine plural. Sérieux, you're gonna add sérieuse. So the X transforms into a S, E. And then sérieuse, you add an S for the plural to the feminine form to do a feminine plural. And sérieux is exactly the same for the masculine singular and masculine plural. So this is similar to the S with français, français. So to summarize, unless the masculine singular already ends with an E, you will need to add an E to get the feminine singular. Remember that if you have a consonant at the end of an adjective, you do not pronounce it. Petit, you do not hear the T, petit. But if you have the feminine form and you have to add the E at the end, petite, then you hear the T, petite, petite. Unless the singular form already ends with an S or X, you need to add an S to the singular to get the corresponding plural forms. And again, question of pronunciation, do not pronounce the S. Petit, you cannot really hear if it's masculine singular or masculine plural. That's just what it is in French. We do not pronounce the consonant at the end, as you know. There are a lot of other adjectives with different rules, but for now that's kind of the basic that I want you to memorize. And remember, in French, adjectives usually come after the noun. It's the opposite in English. A red car, une voiture rouge. We'll talk about that a little later on. A few adjectives come before, but that's for a little later in the semester.